What you guys, got another video here for you on a cool thing to do with a USB flash drive. Now, if you, like me, do like the odd retro game, then this video is going to be for you. If you have a USB flash drive lying around, then you can create a super cool USB flash drive with all your retro games on it. If you have a bigger external drive, you can also use this as well, but choose which way you want to do yours. We're going to be using RetroBat here. You can see I've got a USB flash drive in here. I'm going to head straight over to retrobat.org and we're going to download their little file here. So let's go ahead and download this. Now what this is going to do, this is a front end software that allows you to run and play all your games from one USB flash drive. So you can see all the minimum specs that you need right there. I'm going to show you how to set this all up and get it up and running, be able to change all your themes, scrape all the images and stuff like that and fan art, all on this actual tutorial here from start to finish. So let's go ahead and get started. So first off, I'm going to download the RetroBat here. Now you can see here also we've got the download for RetroBat right here. So I'm going to click on this one and get it downloaded. It's quite a small file, so let's go ahead and download this one. Click on the download button and it will take you to this page. You can read some information here. There's loads of information on this website here. So hit the download now. This will then open up another page. And this is where you can show your appreciation to all the hard work that RetroBat do. You can donate here. I've already donated to this cause, so I'm going to skip this part. But you can pay by PayPal as well if you want to donate here. You can choose how much you ever like, $1 right up to whatever you like. So I'm going to say no thanks and move on to the download section here. You can see it's 800 megabytes or 804 megabytes in size, the 64-bit stable version there, and we're going to download this one. So click on download. You are going to need to download the required DirectX and all the VC++ programs. So you can go to dependencies as well, right on the right-hand side here. So hit the back button, go to here, and then once you get onto this page right here, you will then be able to download all of the dependencies that you will need to be able to run this properly without any sort of problems. So I'm going to come all the way down and you should see down below the dependencies list here. You can see right here, and it's for 64-bit and 32-bit. So we're on a 64-bit system. So we need to download all of the 64-bit dependencies. So click on this one, and also you need to download the DirectX as well. When it takes you to this page, you will see Visual C++, redistribution, runtimes, all in one. This is where you can download them from here, and it will be able to run them from here. Now you can download them from Microsoft separately, one by one, if you want to. These are directly from Microsoft. They're just run in a batch file. It just saves you having to go to all of them links and go to all of these one at a time. So I'm going to now download the DirectX as well to make sure we got that installed on the system so it actually runs properly here. I'm going to go ahead and click on download for the DirectX end user runtime. Now I've got all of this stuff downloaded. What we need to do now is download 7-zip, because I like to use 7-zip to unpack things and get it all prepared. So let me go ahead and get this installed on the system. That's all done. Once we've done this, you can see here I've got them in my download folder right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy all of this stuff into my USB flash drive. So I'm going to cut these and put them into my USB flash drive, which I've renamed RetroBat. Just formatted it and named it RetroBat. Copy all these over, and once these are on the USB flash drive, we can install everything and get it all set up. Okay, so that's now copied all over. First thing we're going to do is extract all the Visual C runtimes here. So I'm going to use 7-zip to extract here, and it will extract all of these into the actual USB flash drive here. You can see there's quite a few of these, and these will be used to help run programs correctly and also run games properly. So you're going to need to install these, and you should have all these installed on your system anyway, and this will just help things run a lot smoother. Now there is a batch file inside here which helps installing all of these rather than clicking on one by one. So we can now click on the install all.bat, and you can see it starts to go through and install all of this stuff. So just say yes, to all of this and get it installed. Now, these are genuine Microsoft files, so don't worry about that. If you don't trust it, then go to the source and download them yourself. But you can see they're definitely getting installed on the system, because you can see on the left-hand side on the command prompt window that it's installing these one by one. And if you plan on using RetroBat on different systems, you will need to install these files onto those different computers for RetroBat to work correctly and make the games work correctly on there. So I'm going to go ahead and let that finish off. They're all now done. And what we need to do next is we're going to do DirectX into the actual system as well. But first off, let me just quickly create a folder called DirectX. And we're going to copy all of these files into that, because you want to leave them on the USB flash drive. That way, anytime you need to install them again onto other systems, you would already have them unpacked and inside that little folder there. So I'm just going to copy all of these, and we're just going to cut these and paste them into that directory. So let me just do that right now. This just tidies things up, and we can remove the zip file once we've done this as well. So now we've got that done, let's go ahead and do the DirectX and install this as well onto the PC. I'm going to accept terms and conditions, click next, remove the check mark from install Bing bar, we don't need that, and click next, and this will go ahead and install this on the system. And once that's complete, we can then move that file into our DirectX folder as well. So we'll just let this go next and download and install all of the DirectX files that it needs. You can see there's quite a few of them here. This is important for games to run properly, and it's important that we have this installed. And you should have this also installed on your system, even if you're not using RetroBat. It just makes things a lot easier. So let's go ahead and let that finish off. And once that's done, we can move on to the next step, which is getting RetroBat installed and getting it set up. And I'll go through all of the steps for you so you can get it all up and running as quick as possible. So that should now be finished. So click Finish. And once that's finished, we can move that file into our DirectX, just in case you need to use these again on another system. We can now remove the zip file which we had of the Visual C runtime. So we can delete this, because we do have all of these files extracted into our DirectX folder. These can be used anytime you need them on another computer. So we'll just leave those in there. Now we've done all of this, what we can do is go back. So going back to our USB flash drive here, we're on the root of our USB flash drive. Double click on RetroBat, and this will start the installation process. Choose our language. I'm going to say English. Click OK. And from here, we can click Next and agree to the terms of RetroBat. So I'm going to click Agree. Now you can see it wants to install on our C root directory. We don't want to do that. We want to install it on our USB. So click Browse. Select your USB flash drive and create a new folder and call this RetroBat. And this is going to be on your root directory of your USB flash drive. And now you can see our E drive, which is our USB drive. Click Install. And this will install RetroBat onto your USB. It will take a bit of time, so be very patient. It does take quite a bit of time to extract everything and install it onto your USB. Depending on how fast your USB flash drive is, will determine how long this takes to install. So if you've got one of those SSD type USB flash drives, it won't take long at all. But if you've got an old USB 2.0, it will take a while to install. So try and get a faster USB flash drive if you can. So we're just going to let that extract and do its thing. And then once this is done, we can move on to configuring RetroBat and getting it up and running. Okay, so I'll speed this process up, and we have now installed RetroBat, and I've deleted the old RetroBat executable. And we've now just got two folders on here, our DirectX and our RetroBat, with all of our RetroBat files installed in here. Inside here, you're going to see all of the directories that you need. There's BIOS and there's also ROMs. The ROMs is where you're going to put all of your games. It doesn't come included with any games whatsoever. This is just the front end software where you're going to be putting your games into. So you would need to find your ROMs to be putting into here. And basically most of the BIOSes should work, but if you do need extra BIOSes, you would put them in the BIOS root directory of that folder. So basically choose what ROMs you want to install and install them into the required folders. It's pretty simple. So we're going to go ahead and put some in here. into PSP, and we'll copy those over. And once that's done, we can then boot up our RetroBat, and I'll show you how that all works once we've copied some games over. So now we've got some games into our folders. What we're going to do is double click on RetroBat here and open up RetroBat for the first time. So once it's loaded, it does take a bit of time. You might see a black screen. Don't worry, it's loading everything in, and you should see something looking like this. And now you should see RetroBat. So the first thing you want to do is click on Enter to enter the menu system. Now, if you've got a control put in, a controller, you're good to go. I've got some games on here, and what I'm going to do is plug in my controller into the computer, and we're going to configure the controller, and also we're going to configure RetroBat to our liking. So let's go ahead first and go into game settings and turn off that annoying sound. So go into sound settings here, and you will see right here front end music. If you like the front end music, you can leave it on. I've muted it out here by turning it off, and we're going to go back. So once we've done this, we can now go into our game settings here. You can see there's some game settings in here, but we need to configure the controller first. So let me go back and go to the controller settings. And inside the controller mapping here, let's click on this one and say OK. You will need your controller plugged in at this stage, and it will try to detect your controller. It's detected my controller. So we're going to click on the A button as it's asking you to do on the screen. And this will then take us into the configuration panel where we can configure the buttons for our controller. So pretty self-explanatory. South, east, northwest. It's telling you to click on the buttons on the actual controller, on the locations where it's telling you to do. Click the start button, select, and then you can do your D-pad up, down, left, and right. And then you can do the shoulder, left shoulder buttons and right shoulder buttons. And then you can move on to your analog sticks, your left and right analog sticks as well. So let me go ahead and finish these off. So I'm going to quickly do the D-pad up, down, left, and right. And this is pretty self-explanatory. You just need to follow what it's telling you to do on the actual panel here. Now, this might be different depending on what type of controller you've got, but I'm just going to go through here. Now, the analog sticks, be a bit careful when you're doing these. Just make sure you're getting them exactly what it tells you to do. Otherwise, you'll end up running into problems when you're playing games. So just take your time with those. And once you've done those, you're going to do your left trigger, your right trigger, your left stick press and your right stick press, and your hotkey. This is going to be your key to come out of the game and go back to the main menu. So make sure you get one designated for that, and you should be pretty much good to go. Once you're done, click OK, and you are ready. So that is the controller or the gamepad all configured. We can now click the back button and go back because we don't want to configure any more controllers. If you have two controllers, you might want to do another one. So let's go ahead and do the next settings. What we want to do is we've done the controller settings. Now let's move on down to the updates and downloads. This is where your content downloader is, your themes. We're going to go into the themes section, and you can choose whatever theme you want for your particular USB drive or external drive if you're using one of those. So choose which one you like. I like the Artflix here, so we're going to go with that one, and we'll choose this one. And this will need to be downloaded. Now, the downloading servers are probably not the fastest, so bear in mind, it does take a bit of time to download these. So just choose one that you like and get that downloaded. It's about 350, 400 megs, something like that. Some of them are a bit bigger, but bear in mind, it does take a bit of time to get these downloaded. So once you've made your choice, you can see it says install, and you can see it downloading on the top right-hand side here. So it will download, and it says currently in the downloading queue. So we're just going to let that download and let it get downloaded onto our USB flash drive, and we can move on to the next step. While that's downloading, you can go into the bezel project, and this will basically put the bezels around the outside if you like to have the bezels for the games that you're using. I've only got a few games on here, but you can see it will allow you to put the bezels on if they're available. You don't have to install the bezel project or the bezels if you don't want to. But now we've got the theme downloaded, let's go back into the user interface settings, and choose our theme. We can now choose our theme, and we can now go back, and this will apply the theme that we downloaded. So we need to apply the theme by going into the theme configuration settings here and configuring our theme. So let's double click on this. So you can see here, we've only got 2 themes in here. So we've chosen the right theme, and now we can see back in the menu system, it's all changed, and that's because we've just changed the theme. So let me go ahead and show you what the menu system looks like here. This is exactly what we've got right now, completely different to what we had before. And again, this gives you all of the games listed on the right hand side that you can populate. If you don't want all of these, you can turn some of these off and just have the ones that you're using if you wanted to. And that's in the menu system. You just turn off which ones you don't want to use. You can see I've got the games here, but they've got no artwork or anything like that. And if you want to get that, you'll need to set up your scraper to scrape for those images. And that's pretty straightforward. So let me show you how we can go about doing that. So I'm going to go back into the menu system here. So we're going to go ahead and click on the enter button, or you can use your controller. And we're going to come down to where it says scraper here. And we need to scrape for images. So go into scraper, click on enter, and this will go into the scraper settings. There's a few ways to get your images scraped, and you can do it from the screen scraper here. You will need an account for that one. It is one of the better ones out there, but you will need to go over to their website and create an account. Just type screen scraper in Google and you'll find it. Set up an account and come back and use your password and your account details. But you can set up here image source, and you can put in your title, and you can put in all the other stuff here depending on which one you're using. 3D, 2D and Will are pretty much the ones that I would go for in that order, just like you see right there. But you may want to do something different for your setup, but that's what I would use on the screen scraper settings for that particular setup. You can toggle on fan art if you wish, bezels if you want to put bezels on there, you can toggle that on as well, and things like that. The back side of the box if you want that. I'm not really too interested in that. Maps and manuals, I'm not interested in that either. So I'm going to turn manuals off, and pretty much you can see here username right here. This is where you'd put your username and password for that particular setup, and you would need to do that by going to their website and set it up and put in your username and password right there. And then once you've done that, you can go back and leave that on there and use it and scrape, and it will scrape. There is some other ones on here which you don't need to set up accounts for, and if you want to use those, it's called Arcade, and you can see the Game DB as well. And once you set this up, you hit the scraper, push enter, and it will go off and start scraping and finding the images if they are available for those particular games. But like I said, depending on which one you use will determine which results you get. They may vary. Of course, any missing ones, you can always put them in manually if you wish, but that's another video for another day. But again, we're letting that download in. It does take a while. If you've got a lot of games, it will take a while. Now we've got update game list. We can update the game list, say yes, and it will go off and update all of our game lists with all of our new artwork and images. And once we're done, you should see something looking like this for the games that I've just uploaded all the images for. And you can see it's found all those quite easily. So pretty simple and easy to do. And that's how you do all of your artwork. And once you're done, you can just play your games to your heart's content. Depending on what type of games you put on yours will determine what games you can play on it. Again, you can get those anywhere you like. And again, that is what I'm doing right here, playing snooker. Again, you can play whatever games you like. This is not about what games you can put on there. There's tons of games available. I'm just playing some pretty low-end games on that USB flash drive, and they work perfectly fine, as you can see on here. I didn't put any bezels on this one. I've took those off, but if you want bezels on the outside, you can do to make it look like it's a little bit more fancy. But again, I went with no bezels. And you can upscale them as well and change all the settings inside there if you wish. I'm just leaving it as default, and this is what you can expect for a pretty low-end game. So what size of USB flash drive should you use? Well, depending on how many games you want to put on there, if you want to put a few on there, you can get 64 gig, 128 gig, 256 gig, whatever you want to do. If you're using a bigger external drive, then by all means, you will be able to get a lot more on there. And again, you can pick those up pretty affordable. And all you need to do is just drop on your games and you're pretty much good to go. And you can play for hours and hours on all your old favorite games from when you was a child. Anyway, I think that's going to be about it. I think it's a pretty awesome little project. If you're looking to do something like this, Let me know in the comments section below what games you used to play when you was a kid. I'll be interested to read your comments. My name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. Hope this video has been some sort of use to you. Just want to say a quick shout out to all my YouTube members who have joined my YouTube members group. I really do appreciate the support, and I'll see you on the Discord server for a chat, or I'll catch you in the very next video. Bye for now.